Howdy everybody, Sean Patton here. I'm at Lido Beach today to talk about our next Sarasota Manatee EcoFlora EcoQuest, part of Marie Selby Botanical Gardens, Just Dune It, which is going to be our July EcoQuest. The We Dream a World exhibit is currently showcasing from July 10th to September 26th at Marie Selby Botanical Gardens, and many of these exhibits showcase Florida ecosystems, some of those being dune ecosystems, and that's why we're just duning it this month. To talk about dune grasses this month, I've brought in Marie Selby's very own botanist, Liz Gandy, who will be explaining what are some of the grasses we're going to find and why are they important. So I guess our first question is, Liz, what are some of the grasses we might see on this EcoQuest?
Well, thanks for having me, Sean. I really appreciate it. I am somewhat of a grass nerd, and so do enjoy talking about them. Some of the grasses that we might find out here are things like sea oats, which are here behind us. There's also dune panicum or seashore dropseed. Also things like muhly grass. There's quite a diversity of grasses that we would find here in the dunes, and we're lucky this time of year a number of them are flowering and making them easier to identify.
So Liz, I don't know about you, but all grasses kind of look the same to me. What are some good ways to identify them?
Oh, Sean, that is a great question. A lot of people do struggle with identifying grasses. So one of the first things you want to do if you're making an iNaturalist observation is to be sure and take a picture of the overall aspect of the grass. That would show the leaves, the habit, the way that it grows, and a flowering head if present. And it's really important that that flowering head actually be present because it's very hard to identify them otherwise. You can also look for structures like the ligule, which is a little piece of tissue or hair area that can be between the leaf and where the leaf wraps around the stem. And we also need as close up as possible of the spikelets, which are the flowering part of the plant.
Wow, Liz, I had no idea that there were so many grasses in dune ecosystems. But why are they so important?
Grasses are really important in the dune ecosystem, Sean, because they are uniquely physically structured to grab and hold sand. There are three main forms of grasses. One form is the clumping form, which these are grasses that have stems that are so short that all the leaves kind of come up in the same area. One great example of a clumping grass that we might find in the dunes is this dune muhly grass. This grass is very common in the dunes and also very common in landscapes. In the fall, it has a flower that has purple, and so the entire top of all these clumps turn purple, and they're really quite beautiful. But the sand can gather around the base of those leaves, and it helps to hold them in place. So Sean, another form of grasses are what we call stoloniferous grasses. These are grasses that have a stem that lays down above the ground. Many of these will have roots that come out at little nodes as they go along. And as they reach out and kind of form a mat, and sometimes we call those mat-forming grasses. And these also help, as they spread, for sand to gather there and accumulate. This is an example of a dune grass that I think many of us know. This is a sand spur. How many of you have had one of these stuck in your bottom of your foot? Little known tip, if you get a sand spur stuck in your skin, to remove it, lick your fingers, then grab the spur and extract it. And it doesn't hurt your fingers. So Sean, one of the last grass forms we call is rhizomatous, and that means these are grasses that have a stem that grows underground, and it's a really great way for the plants to be able to spread without reproducing with seeds. And the sea oat is a great example. If you look closely, you can see that some of them grow kind of in a line. As that stem grows underground, then new shoots come up from that. So next time you're in the fore-dune or front dune area, such as where we are here, look for those lines of sea oats, and you might be able to actually see that the way the rhizome grows. So that allows the plant to form a large colony and trap even more sand. This is a great example of sea oats trapping sand and building a dune right here behind us.
So Liz, you just spoke about how a lot of these grasses have underground roots. Does that do anything to help with erosion? Is there anything that we should do or not do to help prevent our beaches from eroding away?
Oh, that's a great question, Sean. And yes, those subterranean stems or rhizomes really do help to hold sand in place. During certain times of the year, wind and water can really do a number on our dunes. And here at Lido Beach, those of you who have ever walked to the north end might be able to see where the wind and waves cut in to the edge of the dune, and you can actually see those rhizomes holding that sand back. So they do serve a very important function in preventing erosion. Erosion is a natural process for these coastal ecosystems, but the grasses that are here in the dune can really help to mitigate against those. Now, if you're on this EcoQuest and you're photographing grasses in the dunes, please be very careful not to actually walk on the dunes, because our footprints on the dunes can cause quite a bit of erosion. There's usually signage asking people to stay out of the dunes, so please always respect those and only stay on marked footpaths or on the foredune or on the area behind the dune, so you're not actually causing any erosion or disturbance to the plants.
Wow, you've given us so many cool things to talk about grasses that I never thought were that interesting. But before you go, can you tell us about any other plants or animals that we might encounter on this Just Dune It EcoQuest?
Well, Sean, the dunes have really interesting animals such as gopher tortoises, snakes. One of my favorites that I love to see in the dunes are bunny rabbits. Especially if you come early in the morning or in the evening on this EcoQuest, look for bunny rabbits back here. But another thing I really love are secret plants that are kind of hard to find. Right here we have a great example of a plant that you might easily overlook. This is a showy milkwort, and oftentimes they can grow quite a bit taller, but in this harsh environment, see how quite small it is, but it has these beautiful colored bracts that give it its name of showy milkwort. So when you're out here looking for grasses, look for some of these sneaky plants, and please be sure to take pictures and post them on iNaturalist. Well, Sean, another really interesting plant in the dune ecosystem is this sunflower. This is West Coast dune sunflower, and this is a plant that is endemic to our area, which means it only occurs in a very narrow range. And there are other sunflowers around the state, but this one is unique to our coastal ecosystem.
Liz, these are some great tips to protect our dunes. So where can we find dunes on this EcoQuest? I'm assuming near the ocean, but are there any good places in Sarasota and Manatee?
Oh yes, Sean. We're very lucky to be here in Sarasota and Manatee counties. Several of our islands, such as Siesta Key, here on Lido Key, Anna Maria Island, and Longboat Key, all have beautiful beaches and some really nice dunes. The dunes in our area, of course, do not get very large. This is about as big as they get. Unlike other areas such as the east coast of Florida or the Panhandle, which have much more wind and wave energy and make larger dunes, this is just the way our dunes look. So please get out and check out all the beaches up and down Sarasota and Manatee's coasts.
Wow. Thank you so much, Liz, for coming out today and talking with me. And I hope that everyone is going to be out there joining us on this July EcoQuest. Just Dune It.